Do you know where I am? Hi, I'm Andy Teach, host of Andy's Awesome Adventures, and welcome to Erie, Pennsylvania. When you travel, do you like to visit state parks? Go to the beach? Go sailing and boating? Eat at 1950s themed diners? Drink at breweries, wineries, and distilleries? Visit amusement parks? Water parks? The zoo? Museums? Stay at great hotels? Go hiking? Check out a comedy club? Or take in the best views of the city? Well, you're in luck. Erie is the 5th largest city in Pennsylvania with a population of about 250,000 people, so it's a small city with big city attractions. I'm going to show you the top 30 things to see and do in Erie, but before I do, I'd like to thank VisitErie, the tourism promotion agency for Erie County, for sponsoring this video and all of my Erie videos. If you go to their website, VisitErie.com, you'll get all the information you need about Erie when you're planning your trip or while you're here. You can order their free adventure guide, which can be mailed to you, or you can just download it from their website. You can also download the free Hello Erie Trip Planner app. So please check out VisitErie.com. The website link is in the video description. Now for the top 30 things to see and do in Erie. You can see the complete video of each of these places by clicking on the link at the end of this video. These are in no particular order, but let me start with a place that gives you the best views of Erie, Bicentennial Tower. It was built in 1995 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the founding of Erie, and it's 187 feet tall. At the top, you get great views of Erie Bayfront, including the Erie Maritime Museum, Hampton Inn and Suites Erie Bayfront, State Street in downtown Erie, the Sheraton Erie Bayfront, the Bayfront Convention Center, and various marinas. You also get a great view of Presque Bay and Presque State Park, the #1 attraction in Erie. Now let me make a suggestion for one of your days here. These 4 attractions are very close in proximity, less than a 5-minute drive from each other. I just mentioned Presque State Park. You can start your morning at the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, which is an educational center dedicated to teaching visitors about Presque State Park and the many different forms of life that inhabit the park. You'll learn about the wildlife and fauna there by visiting the exhibits here. From the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, it's only a 2-minute drive to Presque State Park, the #1 attraction in Erie with over 4 million visitors a year. It celebrated its 100th anniversary in 2021. You can drive around the 13.5-mile loop, go hiking, biking, boating, swimming, fishing, kayaking, canoeing, birdwatching, cross-country skiing, rent a surrey, and more. On one side of Presque State Park is Presque Bay, but on the other side is Lake Erie, where you can visit the beaches that make up Pennsylvania's only shoreline. You can also visit and get a tour of the Presque Lighthouse, which opened in 1873. When you climb the 38 steps, you'll get a great view of Lake Erie and the beaches. You can also visit the 101-foot-tall Perry Monument that was dedicated in 1926 to Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry. The monument commemorates the American naval victory led by Perry over the British in the Battle of Lake Erie on September 10, 1813, during the War of 1812. Before or after you visit Presque State Park, I highly recommend having lunch at Saras Restaurant, which is right at the entrance to the park. Saras is a 1950s Americana diner, serving burgers, hot dogs, chicken tenders, fries, and oh yes, ice cream. I love their ice cream. After Saras Restaurant, you literally have a 2-minute drive to Waldameer Park and Water World, which is right across the street from the Tom Ridge Environmental Center. Waldameer is the 10th oldest amusement park in the United States. It features plenty of thrill rides, and roller coaster enthusiasts come from all over the country to ride the 1951 wooden roller coaster, the Comet. Waldameer also features Water World, with plenty of water rides and a giant wave pool featuring almost 500,000 gallons of water and accommodating over 1,000 people. Speaking of water, if you visit Erie, you'll want to go boating and sailing. There are many options. I went sailing on the Lettie G. Howard, an 1893 wooden Fredonia fishing schooner in Presque Bay. As a passenger, you can volunteer and get first-hand experience raising and lowering the sails. Last summer, I took a ride on the Lady Kate at Presque State Park, where we got a guided tour of Presque Bay and Lake Erie. At various times during the year, you can sail on the U.S. Brig Niagara, which calls Erie Maritime Museum its home. You can also ride on the Victorian Princess paddle whaler, on Scallywags pirate adventures, or rent Watercraft at Port Erie Sports. You can rent boats, jet skis, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. They're located on the Erie Bayfront. Of course, you can also go fishing in Lake Erie. Did you know that Lake Erie contains 50% of all of the fish in the Great Lakes? To quench your thirst, Erie features the Lake Erie Ale Trail, which is made up of about 15 craft breweries in downtown Erie. I visited the brewery at Union Station. Of course, they have great drinks and food, but the coolest thing for me was the history of this place. It used to be a train station, and 3 US presidents, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Truman, have stopped here. And baseball legend Babe Ruth ate at the old diner here. Oh, and this place is haunted. Outside is a beer garden right by the train tracks, where there's still a working Amtrak station. I also visited the Lavery Brewing Company. I really like the decor inside, but it's the food and beer that locals rave about. As a bonus, I got a behind-the-scenes tour of Lavery Brewery with co-owner Nikki Lavery, who told me how she and her husband started a successful craft brewery. Erie also has the Lake Erie Wine Trail, which features about 20 wineries within a 45 to 50 mile radius of downtown Erie. I visited the Courtyard Winery in northeast Pennsylvania, which is about a 25-minute drive from the Erie Bayfront. I was fortunate to have gotten a private tour by Laura, the co-owner of Courtyard Winery. She showed me the different parts of the winery, including the sitting room, barrel room, the production areas with stainless steel tanks, the bottling line machine, the grapes in their bloom stage, an outside sitting area, and of course the final product. Erie also has distilleries, and I visited Luminary Distilling, Fuhrman Cider, and got a behind-the-scenes tour with co-owner Joel. He demonstrated how they produce the hard liquor and apple cider. Here you can see some of the finished product, and they had great food as well. And now a personal favorite of mine, Erie's museums. The Erie Maritime Museum is dedicated to the War of 1812. The war pitted the United States of America and her allies against Great Britain and her allies. One critical battle was the Battle of Lake Erie, which was won by America thanks to Commodore Oliver Hazard Perry. I really learned a lot about the war, including the reasons why the United States declared war on Britain, what happened during the war, and what happened after the war. The museum features many displays, including the mast of the U.S. Brig Niagara, a reconstructed gun deck of the U.S. Brig Lawrence, and original parts of the USS Wolverine, formerly the USS Michigan, the first U.S. Navy iron-hulled ship. The intimate Fort LeBoeuf Museum is all about the French and Indian War, which predates the Revolutionary War. Our museum guide Don is a former history teacher, and he gave us a great history lesson about the war during the tour. Part of the museum is outside, which features possibly the only statue in the world of George Washington in a British uniform. I was given a private tour of the Hagen History Center and Watson-Curtze Mansion by George, the executive director of the center, prior to its post-COVID reopening. The highlights for me were seeing a sword used by Commodore Perry in the Battle of Lake Erie during the War of 1812, architect Frank Lloyd Wright's original San Francisco office that was transported to the Hagen History Center and reassembled there, and the many displays featuring artifacts that tell the story of Erie's important contributions over the centuries to the US military. The Watson-Curtze Mansion features some beautiful architecture and stylish rooms. As well as showcasing many artifacts from the Civil War. Another Erie highlight is the Erie Zoo. The zoo has over 400 animals and over 600 species of plants. It's a very relaxing couple of hours to explore the whole zoo, where you'll see lions, a tiger, a jaguar, a rhino, zebras, an alligator, kangaroos, penguins, and much more. And of course you can ride on the Safariland train, which is a fun train ride that takes you all around the zoo. This zoo is great for kids of all ages, including older kids like myself. If you love the outdoors, then you've come to the right place. The Greater Erie Regional Trails Network features more than 15 hiking trails all around Erie. I was able to experience 2 of them. First, the Asbury Woods Nature Preserve, which covers over 200 acres and receives over 100,000 visitors a year. I was given some interesting information about Asbury Woods by its executive director, Jennifer. I was then given a ride to another part of the reserve, which features many hiking trails and the famous Instagram-worthy Walnut Creek Wooden Bridge. I also visited the Lake Erie Arboretum at Frontier Park, also known as Leaf. While smaller than Asbury Woods, it's a really pretty area with lots of greenery and peace and quiet. When you visit Erie, where should you stay? Well, I can make 2 recommendations based on personal experience. Last year I stayed at the Hampton Inn & Suites Erie Bayfront, which was the newest hotel in Erie. It opened in August 2020 and features 94 rooms, including 32 studio-style suites. It has a nice lobby with wooden floors and a breakfast area. It also features a fitness room, an indoor pool. My room was spacious and comfortable, with some great views of the marinas, Erie Bayfront, and Presque Bay. It's also an easy walk to 2 of Erie's main attractions, Bicentennial Tower and the Erie Maritime Museum. The hotel also features Oliver's Rooftop Restaurant, which has some great food and great views. When the weather is nice, it becomes an open-air restaurant. I recently stayed at the Sheraton Erie Bayfront Hotel, the #1 Erie hotel on TripAdvisor. On the outside, you can see the unique Sky Bridge, which connects the hotel to the Bayfront Convention Center. On the inside, the lobby has the feel of someone's living room. And on the other side of the lobby is the bar area and the Bayfront Grill restaurant, which features great food and service. The hotel has a fitness center, a nice indoor pool and whirlpool. The room was very comfortable, with a great view of Presque Bay. As you can see, it's an easy walk to Bicentennial Tower. Next up is Kellar's, a modern magic and comedy club which is located on downtown Erie's main drag, State Street. The club was named after Harry Kellar, a local Erie 19th century, early 20th century comic. He was known as the Dean of American Magicians. L. Frank Baum, who wrote The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, based the character of the Wizard of Oz on Kellar. Kellar was a mentor and friend to Harry Houdini. The interior is modeled after Kellar and classic magicians of the time. The concept of the club is by local comedian Bobby Borgia, who was inspired by Kellar to do magic at age 6. The new Erie sign is located on Bayview Park's waterfront bluff near the foot of Cherry Street. It's 5 feet high, 10 feet wide, and weighs 500 pounds. It's the perfect place to get an Instagram-worthy selfie in Erie. I promised you the top 30 things to see and do in Erie, but here are 3 bonus things to see and do. You can watch a movie in the beautiful Art Deco-style Warner Theater on State Street, get wet at Splash Lagoon, the indoor Polynesian-themed water park resort covering over 80,000 square feet, and watch the horse races and do some gambling at Presque Isle Downs and Casino. Well, there is one more thing to see and do in Erie. Watch the beautiful sunset over Presque Isle Bay. As we've seen, Visit Erie's slogan is "Make Your Escape." So when are you going to make your escape to Erie, Pennsylvania?